Hello everybody, my name is Georgi Grimm, and today I wanted to talk to you guys about some really bizarre conspiracy theory kind of stuff. So I was listening to this creepypasta by Corpse Husband, and it's this search and rescue story about this guy who's been doing search and rescue for so many years, and I think he actually is in Washington, but I don't know. But I'm 98% sure he's in Washington because he was talking about how there's a whole bunch of mountain ranges and trees, and I was like, well, no other place has that really, but Washington. Oh yeah, and he said there were lakes, and I'm like, oh my god, there's a million lakes here, so duh. But anyways, so he's talking about his search and rescue thing, and it has to do with going into the woods and finding these people, dead or alive. And so basically what caught my attention was that he started talking about these mysterious random staircases popping up in the forest, literally everywhere. And I was like, okay, what the fuck? What does this mean? What are they? My brain was literally what? Not paying attention to any of the story. I literally got tunnel vision. I was like, okay, what the fuck does this mean? What are these random staircases? And so basically, I'll just give you guys a little background information about what it really was that he was talking about. Was that he was talking about them in a couple of times where these people would go up to them, and people have said that you should never go up to them, you should never touch them, you should just ignore them, altogether when you're in the forest, if you see them ever. And no one really has specified why or what they really are, or if they're from remnants of houses, if they're if they were just there, if they're literally just built in the forest, just for whatever reason. If it's aliens, probably not, but anyways, no one actually knows, and these actually exist. And the guy described the staircases to be literally someone cut the staircases out of your house and put them in the forest. So I've looked up a couple of pictures, and I'll put them in the video, and I will definitely leave links in the description box down below for you guys to listen to the story time by Corpse Husband, the creepypasta, and then another, a few more links that I have just found on the internet of what this means. So basically what I have found recently and thus far, stuff that is basically it just has to do with what he was talking about in the story time. And I'll give you guys a little bit of a lowdown. There was this one time when he was in the forest, and he was talking to another park ranger who had been a search and rescue officer for a while, and he told him what he had seen and what he had seen on the staircase, what they can do. And so the guy who was talking to, he said that one time there's this man who went up these stairs, and he climbed all the way to the top, and he reached out, and he was reaching for a branch or a leaf, and his hand got sliced clean off. He was reaching into another dimension or something. It literally just got sliced off. It was just it just didn't exist anymore. And they tried to find his hand, but they literally could not find his hand. It was gone. It literally disappeared into another dimension. And so other bizarre stuff has happened. I remember he was describing that there's this woman who had gone up to touch the stairs, and people have said, you don't touch the stairs. And here's a reason why, is because there was this woman who went up to the stairs and she touched them, and apparently a vessel in her brain popped, and she literally just collapsed, and she was dead. Literally dead in an instant. And then the third story, which I remember about the stairs, search and rescue guy was talking about how he actually had went up the stairs once, and he kept hearing in his head that this was a bad idea and that he shouldn't be up here. And when he got to the top, the nagging feeling in his head kept getting stronger and stronger and stronger, and he literally could not shake the feeling. It was almost as if there was another force or another being telling him to get down. And that's really freaking weird. And so I'm gonna read you guys a couple of things that I found on subreddits or just random websites regarding. I'm gonna cut that part out. I'm sorry, I'm fighting a cold. I sound gross as fuck. Oh my goodness. Oh. Give me a second. Oh, it's fine. What it says is that my buddy has been a search and rescue officer about 7 years. He started when he was a junior in college, and he had a very similar experience when he first encountered the stairs. His trainer told him almost the same thing mine did, which was to never go near, touch, or ascend them. For the first year, he did just that, but apparently his curiosity got the better of him. And on one call, he broke away from the line and went to go check them out. He said that they were about 10 miles from the path where a teenage girl had vanished, and the dogs were following the scent. He was on his own, lagging behind the main group, when he saw a set of stairs off to his left. They looked like they were from a new house because the carpeting was pristine and white. He said as he got closer, he didn't feel any different, hear any weird noises. He was expecting something to happen, like bleeding from his ears or collapsing, but he got right up next to them and he didn't feel anything. The only thing he said that was odd was that there was absolutely no debris on the steps. No dirt, no leaves, no dust or anything. And there didn't appear to be any signs of animals or insect activity in the immediate area, which he found strange. It was less like things were avoiding them and more like they just happened to be in a relatively barren part of the forest. He touched the stairs and he didn't feel anything except a sort of sticky feeling that you get from new carpet. Making sure his radio was on, he slowly climbed the steps. He said it was terrifying because the way that they'd been stigmatized, he wasn't really sure what was going on or what was going to happen to him. He joked that half of him expected to be teleported to some other dimension and that the other half was watching for a UFO to swooping down. But he got to the top with little event and he stood there looking around. But he said the longer he stood on the top of the step, the more he felt like he was doing something very, very wrong. He described it as the feeling you get when you're in a part of a government building you have no business being in. As if someone was going to come up and arrest you or shoot you in the back of your head at any second. He tried to brush it off, but the feeling got stronger and stronger. Pretty soon he couldn't hear his own breathing. It was like some kind of weird, awful tinnitus, but more oppressive. He climbed back down and rejoined the search, but he didn't mention what he'd done. But he said the weirdest part came after. His trainer was waiting back at the welcome center after the search had ended for the day, and he cornered my buddy before he could leave. He said his trainer had this look of intense anger, and he asked what was wrong. "You went up them, didn't you?" My buddy said it wasn't phrased as a question. He asked how his trainer knew. She's interrupting, and she doesn't know she's being rude right now, but it's fine. This is Lily. Lily, say hi to the people. Okay, go. Be free. The trainer just shook his head and said, because we didn't find her. The dogs lost her scent. My buddy asked what that had to do with anything. The trainer asked how long he'd been on the stairs, and my buddy said no more than a minute. The trainer gave him a really awful, almost dead-eyed look and told him that if he ever went another set of stairs again, he'd be fired immediately. The trainer walked away, and I guess he's never answered any of the questions my buddy has asked him about it since. I just realized that was the story that I was telling you guys about a guy going up the stairs and, feeling really guilty about it. This kind of stuff is really weird because I'm really deep into it and I don't know what it is. Here's another comment on a subreddit, I believe. It's in brackets and says serious. And the question is, have you ever seen random staircase/ladders in the woods? I read about occurrences of people finding staircases and ladders in the woods, and it creeps me out. I want answers. And then one person said, honestly, this topic scares the hell out of me. I originally read this on the No Sleep subreddit, which drove me to do more research on the topic. All that I read about the topic is remnants of houses that all ended in very fatal circumstances, which ended in the death of family members and children, which is horrible. Next, I have read not to go near the staircases, especially not onto, as this allows remaining spirits to latch onto you, as most tend to be malevolent. Finally, I've read that sometimes these appear in clearly marked areas that is not actually there prior to the sighting. And these staircases look as if they're centuries old. Never go near or even pay mind to these staircases, as they do not stand for anything we as decent human beings would like to experience. That was a mouthful, God. And then another person said, when I was a kid, my parents bought an old house that was built in the mid 1800s in South Carolina. It was surrounded by woods. One day I was exploring around the woods near the house and stumbled upon a perfectly preserved stone staircase. I was fascinated with it, especially since there were rather large trees growing all around it. I found out later that the house there had burned back in the 1930s. Basically, people are just like saying they're like remnants of old houses, and I kind of want to just make the theory that it might be aliens, but that's really out there. But yeah, I don't know, this video is kind of all over the place, and that's pretty much all I have right now. If any of you have heard of this or know anything else of it, please let me know, and I will be glad to read your comments in the comment section down below. Please like and subscribe, and I will definitely be bringing more conspiracy theories to my channel because I love conspiracy theories. Like this video if you like conspiracy theories, and I will see you guys next week.